Too excited to teach.
Welcome, everyone, to the last Helicon West of the summer. Woohoo!
Aww.
Don't worry, we'll be back. Star, when's the next one? September?
The second Thursday of September. So that is 13th. Okay. 13th. No, it's 13th.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's a stressful week, so I know each day.
So September.
The 13th, and it'll be League of Utah Writers, and so we're going to have some immensely amazing stuff.
It's always a really fun night,
Yeah.
for sure. But we'll be back in the other room, deep in the bowels of the library.
Yeah.
But okay. I know Star has a bunch of announcements coming up.
Oh, I do.
Exciting.
Oh, yeah. Can you announce the contest?
Yes. Okay. So right now there's the May Swenson Poetry Contest is open already. It's open to all high school students and USU students in the area.
That's just Sarah. Oh, she left. Oh, no. Okay.
She said she'd do it.
She couldn't take the pressure.
Okay.
And there are even cash prizes available for this. Cash. Ooh. So it's definitely worth getting in on. The rules are on the English department's website.
Yes, and with the cash prizes, you also get to read at the charter donor luncheon. Only the people who've given $1,000 or more are invited to the charter donor luncheon. So tell your parents, hurry up and donate $1,000 to the Swenson House, and they can come and hear you read.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say if you want to see me be a winner, you just gotta
Pony up.
give Star $1,000. Yep. Pony up. Exactly. And then your book launch party is coming up soon as well. Is that September 16th? 16th.
Sunday 16th.
Sunday, September 16th.
Hi, Ron.
The Bluebird Restaurant upstairs at 6?
7. Oh, yeah, 6 to 8.
6 to 8. Perfect.
Snacks. Food.
Snacks. Oh, will be provided. Yes. I've been doing orientation all week. It's fine. It's fine. All right. Is there anything else I'm forgetting?
Contest. I think you got it all.
Perfect. Then we'll get started. Just as a reminder, you got 7 minutes before we clap you off. We are uncensored, and I'll be recording you in this corner. So if you don't want me to put your pretty face on YouTube, just let me know before you stand up. Okay, perfect. The sign-up sheet's over there. Well, I mean, it's right here, but it's going to be over there with coffee, which I should have. And our first 3 readers will be Nathan Dan Allen, Sean Anderson, and Luke Whitespace Lemon.
Oh, nice. What a great line.
I don't know why I skipped over that for Sean. Equally.
Okay, I'm going to read, I think, 2 of my pieces today. The first one is titled, The Gypsy Boy Cellist. The Gypsy Boy's shoes still have just enough texture on them to leave a unique footprint in the dirt road. And as he carries his 3/4 cello in a hard-shell case across his back, he leaves a deeper mark than one might think a child of his size should. He whistles a haunting tune of melancholy that he clearly doesn't understand, based on the smile he wears across his face. I think it's kind of beautiful. No one should tell children what songs are about. His hat sits a bit big, or rather, just right if you're going for the happy orphan look. Not a bad idea if one is going to ask strangers for money. There are 2 things people really like: feeling richer than someone else, and big blue eyes that have a smile attached. A handful of spades has nothing on this kid, and I don't even think he'll have to play his cello. The giddy in his step acts as a bit of percussion to his whistles and gives the impression he either knows where he's going or knows it doesn't matter. Passing Passing something that someone who has never been to a city would call an alley, a figure emerges from around the corner in a long coat that resembles something from a 1940s detective novel. He walks toward the boy in an obviously menacing way. He grabs the neck of the cello bass and tries to saunter off, seemingly unaware at first that the kid was even still attached. The figure shakes the cello case like one would an almost empty salad dressing bottle. The boy apparently shakes harder and falls to the ground with the cello still strapped to his back. Scuffed and dusty knees don't stop this scrappy little firecracker. He almost seems to bounce off the earth, and in the same motion as getting onto his feet, he removes the cello from his back, grabs the neck like a bat, and swings that sculpted piece of wood and string encased in dense foam and hard plastic into the head of the failed thief. Drops him like a dumbbell. I'd say it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen if I didn't then watch the kid casually walk up to the limp body, reach inside the back pocket of the figure's pants, and remove his leather wallet. The boy's grin becomes almost campy as he thumbs through while he strolls away in the direction that he was going before. I run up to the kid, unable to gather myself enough to make sense of what just happened. I instinctively grab a few dollars from my wallet and offer it to the poor blue-eyed hero. "I don't need your money," he says, flashing his new leather souvenir before carrying on his jaunt and whistling tune. It doesn't seem as melancholy to me now. What a weird kid. He'll do just fine. And the second one is called No Other Way. It's nothing like choice or desire at all. It's not as music is written or as houses are built. It's apart from the paths we walk for ourselves, and nothing like confidence that gives us strength. It's nothing like poetry, written or thought. Words are so powerful, but there are so many of them. It's not like food. We enjoy so very much. We could have pasta or rice or cake or bacon. It is forced and undeterred by wishes or wanting or pleas or distance. As shadows flee from light, as stars burn because they are big, and mountains sit beside a valley, as trees grow from the breath, from your breath sometimes, and wicker is weaved to stay as baskets and chairs, and war is terrible, and the moon shines with the sun, and planets circle the sun, as you are my son. As evil is malice, as goodness prevails in a happily ever after, and blood needs air, and puppies make smiles on love-stricken girls, as math demands rules to be useful at all, and art demands heart, and pictures use sight, as flowers bloom from a bud, and as leaves eventually fall, as I fell for you. As the sea is wet and wide and deep, as the night is dark while daylight sleeps, as a river flows down hills into a blue-green bay, that is how I love. That is why I love you. I know no other way. Thank you.
So I'm going to be reading a section of an essay entitled Spiritual Dissonance. And it's really long, so I won't be able to get through all of it, but I'm just going to start at the beginning and go.
Woohoo!
And there we go. So, the mission president told me I suffered from something called spiritual dissonance. He described it as a situation where what I know, I am a missionary called by God to teach others about the true Church of Jesus Christ, and what I want, a relationship with a man, exists with internal discord. In order to get rid of the dissonance, I must stop wanting the thing that goes against what I know. I arrived in Laguna Hills, California on December 11th, 2012. I had already spent nearly a year living in California, dedicating every moment of my life, attempting to tell everyone I met why they should join the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Over the course of that first year as a missionary, I spent hours on my knees praying before going to bed, upon waking up, with strangers in the street, inside the homes of families, in my missionary apartment, before reading my scriptures, after reading my scriptures, before eating, and on days when I decided to eat nothing in order to fast. I had grown confident walking up to strangers. I had learned how to tell who would want to talk, who would take a card, and who would swear at me and chase me away. I could sit in strangers' homes and be bold. I could say things like, I know that this is the church that Jesus Christ established while he was on the earth, restored once more. Or, I know that Joseph Smith saw God the Father and his son Jesus Christ. Or, will you follow the example of Jesus Christ and be baptized by someone holding the priesthood authority of God? And my stomach wouldn't churn. A week after I called President Cook to tell him about my attraction to men, he pulled me into his office inside the church building. He sat across his desk from me and tried to meet my eyes. I would not look at him, afraid that all I would see was disgust. It breaks my heart that you've been carrying this for so long without telling anyone, he said after several moments of silence. My head jerked up. Pity, not condemnation. I could accept pity. He explained that my attraction was like the birds outside his window. I couldn't stop them from flying overhead, but I could stop them from building a nest in my mind. I thought back to my high school choir class where we sang Johann Sebastian Bach's funeral dirge, Come Sweet Death. We didn't really love the song until our conductor showed us a YouTube video of another high school choir singing the song and sounding better than us. After one time through the first verse, a single soprano began a reprise of the verse. After a few seconds of clear melody, a bass joined, starting his own reprise, moving at his own speed, ignoring the soprano. More and more voices joined, each moving at their own speed, singing their own part, creating a cacophonous wail, rising and rising. The notes were jarring, terrifying, and beautiful. That dissonance made my hair erect, my body light, yet the dissonance President Cook described felt like claws shredding the lining of my stomach. What I know. 1. I called my parents 6 months before my mission to tell them I'd rather not do the whole mission thing. I wasn't sure I knew enough to do a good job. My mother told me that she knew I wanted to do the whole mission thing, that God would bless my life because of my service. Number 2, I cried when I prayed about the Book of Mormon. Number 3, I spend every day of my mission talking to people, telling them that I know the message I share is true. 4, I am supposed to talk to everyone. 5, I did not talk to that man walking shirtless in the park. 6, I haven't felt connected to another human in nearly a year. What I want. 1, to baptize the entire city of Laguna Hills. I want the baptismal water to heal the drug abuse, shattered family, poverty, and pain I see in the city around me. 2, to be the kind of missionary my mother thinks that I am. 3, to receive a letter from my old roommate, the one who invited me up to his home for the 4th of July over a year ago. I cried the night he moved out. 4, people to believe me when I say that I know that the message I share is true because I want it to be true. I want God to be there and I want him to answer my prayers too. 5, to be able to ask the man on the street if he's happy, if it's everything I think it might be when he tells us, I'm really not interested, guys, I'm living with my boyfriend. 6, to talk to the shirtless man in the park, but not about Jesus. 7, to be transferred out of Laguna Hills. 8, to go home. A journal excerpt from January 7th, 2013. We learned today that telling yourself you are something is better than saying I will be. I realize this whole I am thing will work for my sexuality and sins. I am straight, I am a recovered addict. It is easy to come out through an email. It is easier to come out through an email a year after you've told your mother via email that you were molested as a child so you can blame the attraction on that event. It is easiest to come out in a half-assed, I think I might struggle with same-gender attraction, but I definitely know that the church is true, half-truth, half-lie type way. And I think that's where I'm going to stop, so thank you.
So this first one was written as a response to Douglas Malloch's Good Timber, if you're familiar with that poem, and it's just called A Response. Weathering storms can make a tree, and so they say can it make me, but every weather is not so kind to grow the wood or make defined. Trees don't thrive when ripped from root, nor can withering leaves make good fruit. How much weather can we bear until the storms scar the fair, crack the stout or break the strong? Under winds so fierce can we last so long? Some storms make the survivors grow, a boon the rest will never know. This next one is called Albino Paromyscus leucopus, the white-footed mouse. Scurrying towards the hollow silver maple, marble fur quivering as carmine eyes hunt the sky. This next one was written as a part of a challenge that I got to write a poem that only used questions didn't use any words less than 4 letters, and included the terms rice, beans, and cheese. Yeah, it doesn't have a title yet. When does water boil when laden with eyes, rice? When eyes look away? Why'd anyone look away when simmering water could last forever? When does darkness overtake sunsets between mountain peaks? When starlight asks, when sunset obliges? What trees look from above to meager campsite into humble stove fires holding pots with rice, beans, cheese? What eyes from above, from treetop, from hillside, from Empyrean night join mine watching water with rice, with beans, simmer before boiling? Where have starry nights gone? Where have simmering lights through August skies, chilling grasps through black expanses gone? Away into memory with lonely nights between mountain peaks around humble stove fires with rice, beans, cheese. Have they gone away from even that, gone away into nothing? And this last one is just called Wild. Smoke drapes the mountain, wreathing gauzy white arms around rounding necks of spires and peaks. It marries the sky and swathes the imperial, a clear canvas made murky steel blue. And further south it kisses the sun, a hazy, dreamy yellow-orange that ripples through the idle air, to set intertwined scarlet over the horizon like flames looking insatiate at the dying sagebrush slopes.
Oh, yeah.
Our next 3 readers, I'm actually pretty excited. Tyler Espin will be next. He's the reason I started coming to Helicon West 7 years ago. So it's good to see you here. Yeah. So it'll be Tyler Espin, followed by myself, and then Tim.
All right. I just have one poem. It's called Laura Number 11. Might as well just be called Word Salad, though. You know, lately I've been spaced out, drowning with the storm cloud crowd, draining impatient glaciers in a magnetic attempt to flood every empty vein with a dirty, euphoric, eclectic imperfection. Erecting a gleeful, meaningless effigy, expecting maybe a fanfare, a classic brass taps at sunrise. The obsidian king tinkers with his keyless machines, candle-lit, spinning to the maddening shadows, whispering old sad bastard anecdotes. And I've got this vile, polite nihilism, cries in silence nightly. The colliding light blind frighten the psychic Christ out of my eyes in a daring cave escape from the deranged traitors claiming their place at the Savior's table, while the Son of God hangs thanklessly for the damned at the top of the cross. Laura, I'm lost in this parade of pages that demands a manic academic analysis, a witch hunt for some sinister symbolism dwelling devilishly beneath each speechless syllable, only to find out this harebrained mosaic I'm arranging is void of vision, a veil of aesthetic cathartic narcissism, a heliocentric speed demon aimed at the dark parts of the stark charming star gardens the cartographer left largely uncharted. I don't know if my lexicon is properly honest. I avoid unknown emotions. I carefully evade articulation by astral projecting to the carousel of sporadic sadness that abandoned dead metaphors like Walcott smashing castaway sandcastles, a cliche demonstration of the art of letting things go. It's difficult resisting the incurable urge to revert to cursed Puritan hieroglyphs, a pretentious, picturesque absence of a classical alphabet, chiseled deliberately by the hands of a savvy craftsman who failed to comprehend the gargantuan task of making conversation with eternity. Time and I are constantly at odds, a monotonous march that maintained a flawless, stable formation bending only for forces too ominous to comprehend, while I assemble some makeshift masterpiece, a bombshell ensemble that speaks in sequence, free-falling apology to any specter that fell innocent victim to my false trauma gospel, a collection of spellbinding existential recollections that answer none of the big, pressing questions, but I guess that's the rub. Either we die in our loathsome, woeful loneliness, or we spend every desperate second pretending nothing ever ended. I'm not serrated enough to raise hell lately. A hurricane of fists and teeth and fear, an exhausted ghost imposing my striking likeness on something decidedly less wild than I am. A perverse hermetic howler reduced to lounging on couches, harping harshly on the way each day contains only minor variations of the same basic framework. Laura, I've been hurting. It's a roulette of tense, hesitant breaths that burn pure murderous, suggesting maybe the thunder-spun, drunk bluster is less ketamine ecstasy and more warm California mornings. So let's get some shit straight. I am too goddamn zen to defend myself against your superficial bullshit criticism, and I am too goddamn mellow to scream in the streets while the neighborhood is Mormons and divorces and trash and rats and cannonballs. Perhaps I am the hanged man, dangling in that pragmatic gallows, bitter and spitting livid imagery, or dancing gladly on the branch, gravity be damned, a gleeful, freewheeling, opaque, playful daydream that ended like wide-open skies, either unpleasant or perfection. So if you were lost, consider that the branch you're hanging from makes a better balance beam than a casket. P.S. Turn that motherfucker upside down. Thank you.
Welcome back.
That was a tasty word salad. I just brought a really short one today, titled October. Today I am a wife of stones, pregnant with marbled weight, gray depression slashed with pink need. Between my legs is a reaching, an ingrown shaming. I will sink in the bathtub, flat among the shadows of swans. He will see the cracks in me, my bag of pleas. I cannot stand this cold.
Okay, so under the heading of adventures, my printer wouldn't work, so this is a repeat.
Nice.
And I guess this is for anyone who's ever asked, what the hell am I doing here? I'll be in town a few more hours, the woman said. I was wondering, are there any places of cultural interest that perhaps we shouldn't miss? The question wasn't directed at me, rather it was directed at the cashier at the New York Deli in Preston, Idaho. And what a question it was. I watched in a semi-detached state of amusement as the cashier, Tamara, a woman who had lived here all of her life, struggled to name even one culturally significant place. As more and more my attention focused on the conversation, it bothered me that, like Tamara, I couldn't think of even a single point of interest. It was mid-February, so unless ice fishing was on her agenda, and given the Volvo station wagon, Prada shoes, and that she'd asked the question to begin with, it likely wasn't. Any of the 7 reservoirs surrounding the town wouldn't be her cup of tea. The same with hunting or any of the bridges I leapt from as a boy. Our famous nighttime rodeo was months away, and the traveling carnival stop along with it. The town theater, laughingly called the Grand, has but 2 showings a week, and half the time the movie has already been released to DVD. Even our restaurants, such as they are, could best be described as fast food, and she was already standing in one. As Tamara hemmed and hawed, the sublime irony, even cruelty of the question occurred to me. I found myself checking for hidden cameras or a film crew. A high school acquaintance once answered a similar question with a nod to his nether regions, declaring that particular zip code to be the biggest attraction in the area. And while his claim was certainly worthy of casual investigation, he was wrong. But even if he hadn't been, I hardly think that was what our lady friend had in mind. The truth is, the good old USA is thick, literally lousy with towns like mine, tiny boroughs in the landscape of our great nation. Places like these nurture generation after generation of decent, hardworking people. And one could even argue that the backbone of American society, but Our Lady in Waiting wasn't asking for an argument regarding the merits or comparative lack thereof of rural America. Can anyone help this lady, Tamara asked, her desperation obvious and apparently contagious. Patron after patron lowered their gaze until finally her eyes settled on me. Tim, you're from here. You can help us out. I never did like Tamara. Nevertheless, the ball having been successfully passed, I had no choice but to answer the question or admit that the place of my birth and location of my home held virtually no interest of any kind. And however true that may be, Tamara has never gotten the better of me, and she wasn't going to start today. Well, I said, Jim Bridger famously loved the area for the abundance of fur-bearing animals. I crossed my fingers, as I'm not entirely sure that was accurate. You can hear it in names like names of places like Mink Creek, Bear River, and Cut River. I said, gesturing in the general direction of each location like some demented tour guide on a virtual bus. To the west is the Battle of Bear River Memorial. Speaking of Bear River, it's a primary tributary of the Great Salt Lake, the only remnant of Lake Bonneville, which covered the whole valley. I went wherever the randomly firing synapses took me. A number of the towns in the area were founded by polygamists on the run from the federal government. The richness of hunting and fishing and farming in the area ensured that they stayed. Mink Creek even has a ghost. We built quite an audience by then, and Our Lady seemed reasonably entertained, or at least attentive to my various brain droppings. But as a simple matter of pride, I couldn't shake the reality that I had yet to answer a question. We have at least a dozen churches of various denominations. Okay, so that was a little pathetic. Even by the rapidly developing standard of the situation. In my defense, I was limited by the materials at hand. I mean, we can't even boast the stupidity of other hamlets. Jackalopes, Sasquatch sightings, or the world's largest ball of twine. We do, however, have 5 bars, and I was beginning to understand why. Culture. Who the hell determines culture anyway? I hated this place growing up. I couldn't wait to get out. Only as I struggled to justify its existence did I realize why I moved back. Realize, sure, but not quite quantify. Maybe it's as simple as a salmon returning to spawn. Maybe it's rooted in my childhood, sleigh riding down the Creamery Hollow and bailing off just before impact with the ditch below, or exploring the boarded up sugar factory, or playing on the National Guard Armory tanks. Or adolescence, like that really long straightaway on 8th East we used to race on. Or the now boarded up disco where I tripped the light fantastic for all of 17 minutes. Or any one of 100 other intangibles this woman probably wouldn't understand or care if she did. Regardless of cultural significance, it's home. Every corner, every building, every feature a part of me. I closed my attention to everyone but her. But all my focus at the problem at hand, and when I finally arrived at the last bit of trivia, I sold it with all the confidence I could muster. You know, I said, the oldest town in Idaho is Franklin. It's only 6 miles to the south. There's a small museum, a nice park, and a convenience store called La Tienda. It sells more lottery tickets than any other place in the state. It might be worth your looking.
Yeah.
All right, and there's still spots left on the list if anyone didn't sign up and wanted to. But unless we get any bites, our last 3 readers will be Chad Van Zanten, Sarah Anderson, and Ronald Jensen.
Hi.
Hi, Chad.
We didn't plan this. We really didn't. Tim and I didn't plan this.
We're happy about it.
It's weird. It really is weird. But yeah, I haven't seen Tim in a couple of, well, I guess at the wedding. But yeah, we didn't. This wasn't planned. I've been writing some stuff. This is an essay on fishing the Bear River, but it's too long, and I'm just going to read this one little, the intro to it, which has a lot to do with some stuff that Tim was talking about.
Nice.
The essay is called "The Gamblers of La Tienda." In the rural village of Franklin, Idaho, population 600 and change, there is a fuel station and C-store called La Tienda. The store, in case your Spanish is rusty. For boaters and campers looking for a sack of ice or a 5-pound bag of beef jerky before setting out to one of the numerous nearby recreation areas, the store is the stopover of choice. And like a lot of little stopovers of its kind out here in the West, it's also a lot more than that. La Tienda is the region's principal supplier of lottery tickets, an important commodity. in Idaho. And because it's situated a mere 5,000 feet from Idaho's border with Utah, where gambling is illegal, the store is famously known as the home of the Utah lottery. On the eve of big Powerball jackpots, Mormons embark on a new pioneer trek, northward this time instead of westward, into Idaho instead of Zion, but for basically the same reason, to get really rich. Utahns rely on La Tienda for one other provision, one that is widely considered essential: beer. The store boasts a spacious walk-in refrigerator generously stocked with High Point beer, which is another thing Mormons have outlawed in Utah. Highway 91 between La Tienda and the Utah state line must be one of America's last great bootlegging routes. But most importantly, on every holiday weekend throughout the summer, the La Tienda parking lot becomes the beachhead and resupply depot for a massive invasion of recreational vehicles. Enormous pickup trucks hauling boats and ATV trailers jockey up to the gas pumps. RVs loom over the shimmering asphalt like aircraft carriers. Bikers in black leather descend in squadrons of 10 and sometimes 20. Inside there is a tin bell rigged up over the entrance, and its discordant jangle is practically continuous. The queue to the cash registers winds through the aisles and all the way back to the glass doors of the beverage coolers. A tan guy in a country music t-shirt with cut-off sleeves waits in line, a case of Miller High Life in each fist, and a third on the floor, which he nudges along with his foot. Behind him, a sunburned Harley rider is buying cigarettes and energy drinks. He tilts his wraparound sunglasses up onto his forehead to reveal a raccoon mask of pale skin. Over by the candy, a mom in a pink camouflage hoodie scolds her kid. "You can get one thing, Riley, one. That's two things. I said one." The lottery players don't improve the situation. At any given moment, half of La Tienda's customers are playing $2 scratch tickets. Old folks in Sunday clothes, young folks with tattoos and Kool-Aid tinted hair, multi-generational families of migrant workers. They line up to buy stacks of 20, 30, and 50 tickets. The cashiers don't bat an eye even when asked for 100. The gamblers loiter in the aisles and scrape away at the gray rubbery film to reveal their fates. The tickets have names like Epic Fortune, Make Me Rich, and Set for Life. They advertise payouts between $10,000 and $250,000, and the payout on Powerball can inflate to $500 million. But most winning tickets are worth a microscopic fraction of that, $5 or maybe $10. And most of the players buy more scratchers with their winnings. These regulars are uninterested in anything less than about $50. They're looking for the serious win, and they may remain at the cash register for 5 minutes to cash out, buy more tickets, cash out again, doubling down as long as their luck holds out. I once saw a guy win $350 and immediately spend it all on more chances. And the cashiers allow this, even though it slows the line to a glacial procession. Sometimes it forks or doubles back on itself, giving rise to low-intensity conflicts about who's ahead of whom. And so, on holiday weekends, La Tienda becomes a sort of pageant of the human experience, in which old and young, poor and rich, shuffle together through the congested convenience store of life, each searching for what they need to be happy. Some are looking for escape, many seek wealth, others just need a place in line and a 5-pound bag of beef jerky. But that's not how it is on a cool, blustery Sunday morning in April. With Memorial Day still weeks away, I pull off Highway 91 at the La Tienda parking lot and find it basically vacant. I park in the stall nearest the entrance. Evedina works at La Tienda, not her real name. Evedina works at a La Tienda check stand just about every Sunday. She's in her early 60s or thereabout with short grandma-style hair and a perpetual deferential smile. Roberta's working too. She's a few years younger than Evedina, and she wears her blonde hair long, and she's flirty. The two ladies lean against their checkout counters, chatting and laughing in the almost empty store. They don't know my name, but both recognize me as a Sunday semi-regular. And so in addition to the atonal greeting of the little tin bell over the door, Evedina and Roberta wave and nod at me as I walk in. I follow a circuit through the store to collect my order: icy Coke in a 20-ounce paper cup, package of little chocolate donuts, and an Idaho 6-pack of High Point apple ale. Roberta waves me over and says, "I can help you right here, hon." And we begin our ritual. "Off to fish again, are ya?" "Yeah." "Well, you've got a nice day for it." If the weather was bad, she'd say, "Well, it looks nasty out there. Stay dry, hon." How many times have we done this over the years? 50? 100? I ask her, "Could I get a 4-piece chicken fingers?" "Sure thing." La Tienda chicken fingers are just breaded strips of white chicken meat, but they're deep fried in small, frequent batches, and so they're hot and fresh all day, and they've attracted modest acclaim among regional connoisseurs of gas station cuisine. Surely Roberta knew I wanted them, but maybe she feels weird serving them before I ask. I don't know, but my saliva glands pucker momentarily as Roberta opens the hot food cabinet. She puts 6 of the chicken fingers into a paper sack for me and says, "They're a little on the small side today, so I threw in a couple extra for you." She does this every time. I thank her and she gives me a wink as I turn to leave. It's chilly outside and it's rained on and off all morning, but as I climb back into my truck, the storm clouds are marching slowly eastward and the blue sky gaps between them harbor the half-hearted promise of a hot afternoon. With the store in my rearview mirror, I head for Cup River Canyon. I'll stop there. Continue.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read 2 poems. One that I found, that was like one of my first ones. I found it today. And then my newest one, which I wrote today. So the first one is called From the Carrier to the Customer. It's me complaining about delivering newspapers. I knock on your door. I ready and you unsuspecting, a perfect prey. No response. I knock again, harder this time. And you come to the door. It's obvious that I've disturbed you from something, but I don't care, because I'm here for a reason, persistent and rude. Before you have the chance to tell me to go away, I begin to spout words. Memorized ages ago, I know the words well. Hello, my name is Sarah. I work for the Herald Journal. Down at the Herald Journal, we work very hard to get people their papers. We wake up early in the morning, 5:45 to be exact. We fold every individual paper, just under 100 of them. We bundle up 2, sometimes 3 layers, and then I go out into the cold, frozen to my very bones. And I return, waiting by and thawing by the heaters for the very measly amount of $12 per month. You appear unfazed by my tale of woe, just the same blank stare. I casually drop the last piece of information knowing that you will crack. The more people we deliver to, the more we get paid. You continue to stare. You know these are the college dorms, right? I stare back for a moment, not fully comprehending what you told me. I'm sorry, I say. Can you direct me to Cliffside? And this is the one I wrote today called Dream State. It sounds a little bit like I was on drugs, but I wasn't. Just sometimes summertime makes me feel this way. When the lights begin to look a bit like roses, you know you're in for a trip. The challenging nature of my bones begins to melt away, leaving only the part of me that wants to paint pictures and tame hearts. My mind is only occupied by the thought of your hand in mine, and my only wish is in this moment for the rest of my life. I'm going to read that again because I stumbled over all of it.
Good.
My mind is only occupied by the thought of your hand in mine, and my only wish is this moment for the rest of my life. Maybe it's unusual for me, but I begin to feel that you're my manifest destiny, and the soft wind and Kool-Aid sky only add to the idea that my heart is one moment from exploding.
Hey, Ron.
Hi, Ron.
Coming up. I never thought it would happen. I never thought I could say I'm going home to my wife at the end of the day. The time of the others, but never to me. Married, it seemed. This wasn't to be. Then I found Kaylee, who's made my dreams come true. You might have better hat, and I'll sure love you. From Yorkville, I love candy. I remember going to the candy store, getting up the goodies and always wanting more. Now I found something sweeter than I ever did back then. My candy kisses now, and I see in the end. I love candy. Yes, sweet. See, so sweet, as sweet can be. I love candy, that's for sure. She's a girl that I adore. I used to go with candy down at the local mart. Now I have a candy. It gives me a hug. I used to get high from all the candy I ate. Now I feel high from the candy that I ate. Now the candy, yes sweet. She's so sweet, as sweet can be. I love candy, that's for sure. She's a girl, I adore her. Thank you.
All right, anyone else want to jump on the list?
Did Carly sign up?
Yes, yep. So our last reader of the night will be Blue Vanessa.
So, I've been recently reading the Red Songbook of the IWW, which is full of protest songs from the labor movement. And I found a rewrite of God Bless You Merry Gentlemen, and I found it a little outdated, so I decided to update it. So I'm not going to sing it because I'm too wobbly, but I'll read you what I rewrote. Your blessings pour in working folks, spending your last cent, working long and thankless shifts, just trying to pay the rent, cutting comforts from the budget, feeling rather spent. Oh, tidings of equality, equality, oh, tidings of equality. Good blessings pour in working folks, bad news I have to share. Rich men leave us nothing and they don't even care. The exploitation and abuse is more than we can bear. Oh, tidings of equality, equality, oh, tidings of equality. Good blessings pour in working folks, I know you all must see. How all around you working people die in misery. For when the doctor's bills come due, we fall to poverty. Oh, tidings of equality, equality, oh, tidings of equality. Good blessings pour on working folks, I'm scared you've been fed lies about how disability is something to despise. Exclusion kills our movement for anyone tries. Oh, tidings of equality, equality, oh, tidings of equality. Good blessings pour on working folks, white comrades take the fight. Against white supremacy, strive with all your might. Fight the system with your strength until the morning light. Oh, tidings of equality, equality, oh, tidings of equality. Good blessings pour on working folks, I need you all to show that queer workers at your side should never take a blow. For when we fight together, that's when the boss will know. Oh, tidings of equality, equality, oh, tidings of equality. Good blessings pour on working folks, it's time to take a stand against the very wealthy men who try to take command. To save us all from destitution, you must lend a hand. Oh, tidings of equality, equality, oh, tidings of equality. Good blessings pour on working folks, I need you all to hear. With your courage and your strength, you're greater than your fear. For when their workers take command, we'll hear the biggest cheers. Oh, tidings of equality, equality, oh, tidings of equality.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, thanks for coming. Make sure to stack your chairs in the back, go online and check out those rules.
Yeah, and get ready to have your
Grad school, yeah. Okay, and we'll see you in September. I'm so happy you're ready. What?